His name was Tyagarajan. He was from Travancore. And he used to say, examination is a botheration. For the Indian nation whose occupation is cultivation. Absolutely true. We don't study now. We send our children to mug up the book and come back and vomit it in the exam. And then we want them to get the first rank. Because ever since I joined the medical school, long before many of you were even conceived, almost in the last, I have been worried about this human body. I have not been able to understand it. Even as a student, I was so confused. But then I was told by my teachers, now don't get confused now because you want to pass the exams. Today what is education? It's just examination. I used to have a lecturer in college before I went to the medical school. He was a very wise man. His name was Tyagarajan. He was from Travancore. And he used to say, examination is a botheration. For the Indian nation whose occupation is cultivation. Absolutely true. We don't study now. We send our children to mug up the book and come back and vomit it in the exam. And then we want them to get the first rank. Most first rankers don't think at all because they can't think. They have lost the power of thinking. Rabindranath Tagore went to school. First day, he found terrible in the school. Second day, 1 year, then he came and told his father, I don't want to go to school. Can you imagine that? His father was a very rich man, very powerful man. But the father was a sensible man. He said, okay, you don't want to go to school, don't go to school. So he didn't go to school. He taught himself like an Ekalavyar. And 1930 he gets the Nobel Prize for English literature. Can you believe that? Because when he wrote his Gitanjali in Bengali, somebody taunted him. If only you had gone to school and learned English, you would have written it in English and everybody would have understood. He said, okay, what's the big deal? He taught him himself English in 1 year. And 1911 he wrote the Gitanjali de novo in English. But again, Tagore was not known. If you want to be known, you must be somebody in this world. Then otherwise, Churchill once said, there are three things in anything you say or do. Who are you? How do you do that? And third, what did you do? The what did you do is the least important. But who are you is the most important. If it comes from somebody very big, so-called quote-unquote big, it's accepted by people. If something comes from America, it's immediately accepted. It's very interesting. When Morarji Desai used to drink his own urine, we used to laugh at him, saying that he's a bloody fool. And our five-star culture people in Delhi's air-conditioned clubs used to laugh at him, saying that no, he's drinking his own water. And one of the writers wrote, if he were a diabetic, at least he would have got some sugar for his energy. Little did they realize that today America is using it for treatment. America is using not only urine but shit for treatment. And that saves lives. Today antibiotics do not work in silly infections. And what do? We have taken it from the Indian veterinary science. When cows got infections in the olden days, they used to give cow dung from another cow. Same thing a professor in Johns Hopkins did for dying children because they were dying of silly pneumonia, what's called Clostridium difficile pneumonia, which even can't kill a fly. But children were dying. So she took a bold stand and took the mother's shit, emulsified it, put it through the Rayleigh tube, and the child recovered in 4 hours' time. But America calls it as fecal transplant. Oh, we all say, yes, fecal transplant, very big. Immediately accept. If you say, this has come from India, they say, saffronization. This fellow must be some saffron, somebody, RSS or something like that. This is our mentality because most of us is right, if not all of us, are not Indians. We are RNIs, resident non-Indians. Not NRIs, RNIs, resident non-Indians. We are here, but we think with the Western mind. We think with the Western thoughts because this is exactly what the East India Company's policy was. Let us train Indians who are Indian in blood and color, but British in thinking, action and morals. That's what we are. Unfortunately, after independence, many of our leaders were more British than Indian. And that false thing has continued till today, where the so-called elite in society think with the Western mind. That is why we have not progressed. We have so much of wisdom not knowledge, wisdom in India, which we have not made use of. We are after knowledge because Sir Francis Bacon wrote, knowledge is power. And you go to any Indian university, that's the motto. Knowledge is power. I always go to the university to tell them, don't write that. It's rubbish. Knowledge is information. Most of it is just noise. Occasional signal is lost in the noise, so you don't get anything. Because knowledge dwells in heads replete with thoughts of other men. Whereas wisdom dwells in heads attentive to their own. Knowledge is so proud because it knows so much. Wisdom is so humble because it knows no more. No more. Knowledge and wisdom have nothing in common. And what we should tell our students is, knowledge is not important, but wisdom is important. Wisdom requires thinking. Thinking. Our students don't think. If an occasional student thinks and asks a question in the class, the teacher always says, it's not in the syllabus, don't worry, because you got to get to it. Now where did this syllabus come from? The best. Time was when education was derived from the Latin root educe, E-D-U-C-E, which means deliver. Swami Vivekananda rightly said, education is the manifestation of the perfection which is already inside you. Alexis Carrel, a Nobel laureate surgeon who wrote the book Man the Unknown, wrote, I quote, every newborn child is a genius. Every newborn child is a genius, only to be converted to an idiot in school.